Welcome back to the Quiet Car Podcast, episode 13. And let me tell you right now, this is going to be the biggest episode that we have ever did because we got the greatest guy to ever step into social media and to present the hobby news, one of the GOATs. I am not playing right now, one of the GOATs. We got Adam Palmer. Okay. Adam Palmer on here. Hobby news. Okay, listen. Let me tell you something right now. Okay, y'all are finna be in a whirlwind on this episode right now. Adam, what is going on with you today?
Just living the dream, making cards or making content about cards. I mean, what can you really? How can you make a day better than that? Basically.
Now, like I said, Hobby News Daily. If anybody knows and anybody doesn't know, need to go immediately right now, sign up to that awesome newsletter right now. Because let me tell you something, the last articles in the news that I saw with the National got it right. Let me tell you something. Must read right now. Okay. If y'all not listening to him, y'all don't know the hobby. I don't want to hear no crying. I don't want to hear nothing right now because y'all don't know nothing. Okay.
Hey,
if you're not reading his, go ahead.
I just want to say, these other places are getting like millions of dollars for their,
having
media outlets about collectibles.
Having
I'm just
3
gonna
likes.
say, these guys right here, they need the check.
It's the legit. We got him on the podcast today. Let me tell you something right now. We ain't going out to them other yankers, okay? We got the real guy with the Hobby News Daily right now. Like I said, sign up to that newsletter. If anybody knows, sign up to that newsletter if you want to stay in touch with the hobby right now. We listen to it. We read it. Okay, you should too. If you can't read it, well, just get out the hobby. You ain't supposed to be here anyway. Okay. So now, like I said, we're gonna do, of course, we're gonna do the car show review. We was in Dallas right now. He did a Dallas car show. Found out that Jerry just found out that everybody don't drink sweet tea. Okay, so we got to tell that story right now. Also, Fenway Park. Adam was there at Fenway Park. Would love to see how that's going and everything. And will he actually, if the Yankees have one, we're gonna ask him to see if he actually will go to the Yankee Stadium. Probably not. And so, which I don't blame him either. You know what I'm saying? Also, Caitlin Clark is getting bullied in the WNBA. And anybody got a problem with that?
It ain't so.
Talk to your mama and not us. Okay. Also,
I can attest to that because I went to her first game in Connecticut.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Yeah.
I did buy some courtside seats. I don't want to brag here, but I did sit courtside. I was looking at the tickets. They actually weren't as expensive as I was expecting.
Right.
When I told some of my buddies, they were like, "Oh, that's actually I expect them to be a lot more than that."
Right.
I was on TV one time. And I forget what the defender's name, but there was one defender that was on Caitlin Clark all game and was just absolutely checking her at half court. It was just completely throwing her off. But yeah, that was cool. I mean, it was actually a pretty eventful last week with that card show, and then also going to that game too. So yeah, that was a lot of fun.
That's what I'm talking about. And you talking about the girl with the blonde hair?
Yes.
Yeah. Ooh, I forgot her name, but I did follow her because you know what I'm saying she's very marketable. That's why I'm just gonna have to put that out there. And also, will Marvin Harris be in the new Tops football? I don't think so because they don't like him right now. Okay, but let's start with the car show review. I'm gonna throw it over to Jerry right now because let me tell you something. It was the first time in Dallas. I had to drag him out of Alabama and I had to take him to Dallas. I told him everything about Dallas. You got to go to the trade night, this and this. And tell me what you think about it.
Bro, the Dallas card show is super, super underrated. Like, I know a lot of people hype it up, but it is way worth the hype. Like, it was pure insanity. Like, the normal venue that we go to for our local big card show, it's like 15 rooms deep, plus the hallways, plus every little room in between. Like, it's massive. And then the show's cute, like beautiful. It's amazing, right? Like, you had PSA there, you had BGS, you had JSA, you had people doing autographs. I mean, it was everything you wanted and then some. but trade night was it was insane. It
Uh-huh.
was the only thing that has ever compared to a national trade night that I've ever personally been to. I mean, it was wild.
Yeah.
Plus, the hotel that it was at, we had Wagyu tacos and a Wagyu burger.
Man,
like we didn't have to go anywhere.
Now.
It was lit, bro. Like trade night was insane. Now sleeping in Dallas was like trade night ended at 2, and we had to go to the airport at 4. So
man, sounds like Chicago all over again, man. Comparing it to national.
Now, I will say that I was surprised at how much Pokemon was at Dallas.
Oh, yes.
Like, even Amani, as we were walking, like he was like, bro, like this is a lot of Pokemon. I would say a solid, maybe 1/3 is a stretch, but boy, it was close. It was the vast majority of most tables.
Let me say this. Now, Adam, you've been to the Dallas Card Show, right?
No, actually, well, so I was planning on going to this one actually, but then I heard about the Fenway show, and then what happens when you plan to do something and then you just kind of never make the actual plan to do it. So that's actually sort of what happened here. And then, I mean, for me, luckily, the Fenway show ended up being that same weekend.
Now, I've always said that for me, this is the perfect Dallas Card Show, the one in May, because it's not too close to Christmas. And it's not too close to the national. Plus, I get a better read on how I should definitely approach the national. Now, when Jerry and I was walking around, like I said, they have a medium-sized room. The large room is what you see like on YouTube. Everybody's filming this and this. But they also have like a medium-sized room and 2 small rooms also. And then they have the hallway, decked out and everything. The medium-sized room, which I was so surprised that it was just, I felt like it was all Pokemon. I mean, the Pokemon there was correct. I mean, I wouldn't even say. I think there was more Pokemon there than it was sports cards, because every table was just surprisingly just loaded up with like Pokemon. I mean, I thought it was a collecticon for a second.
Kind of makes sense, man. Like Pokemon's the most graded card, right?
Yeah, and like I said, it was there. I mean, it's catching up coming into us, because I don't know, maybe everybody's recognizing that Charizard doesn't get hurt, or Charizard coming out, him running out the hotel room and stuff. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know what I'm saying? So it may be a little safer to get that, but I've never seen it. Like I said, now I only go to the show once a year, but even when I was there last year, it wasn't that much. It wasn't that much Pokemon at all. But I mean, I'm just that's how I feel about it.
Now, how was the Fenway show? So that looked crazy, bro.
Yeah. The Fenway show was super awesome. It was 2 days. I only went on Saturday, and then the trade night was at Big Night Live, which is next to the TD Garden where the Celtics and Bruins play. And that's where the original show, when they had it, was. So it did move around a little bit, but it was cool to have it at like 2 different sports venues. And like the access to the stands was really cool. And I mean, like I said, I talked about it on the Hobby News Daily podcast that I do Monday through Friday. Hobby News Daily podcast. If you're looking for a phenomenal hobby podcast, there you go.
Sign up. Sign up.
But I talked a little bit about like how it was as packed as like if there was a game going on like at Fenway. Like I don't know if you guys have ever been to Fenway, but it was like it was on the concourse, like in the like bleacher area, and it was like as busy as it would have as it was when if there was a game going on. I didn't really buy anything. I mean, I finally honestly got some stuff graded that I've been looking to get graded for forever, like some like old soccer stuff that I was buying like forever ago, like Rolandinho, some of his like early 2003 stuff, and then there was this really cool Neymar 2000. I think it would have been 2011 Neymar. It was like a Japanese Panini card that came out that I bought a couple of them like a while ago. And then like Pulisic, I had let's see what it was like the Tops. It was the Tops Now set. Like when he was playing for Chelsea, they won the Champions League, and there's a card that came out with like a Pulisic Champions League champions card that has him with the trophy, and I finally got that graded. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, like I said, it was as packed as if there was a game. Like, it was really, it's a phenomenal show. And I mean, I saw people flying out. Like, I saw Ryan Card Collector 2. I saw King of Collectibles. I saw Santiago Cards was there. So like, people are flying in, and I mean, a lot of people came for those original Boston shows that were at basically, it was basically the TD Garden. Like, it was outside of the TD Garden in the venue. But yeah, I mean, I think people are traveling to that type of show because it's like, you know, you get access to the field, you get access to all the vendors that were open, you can get hot dogs, you get beers and stuff. I mean, it was really cool.
Now, was that the first time you going there, or you been there just a couple of times?
That was the first Fenway show that I've been to. I think they did it last year, I'm pretty sure. And that was the first time at Fenway. They did it I had gone to the one outside the TD Garden twice, I think. But yeah, that was my first time at the Fenway show. I think that this was the second. It's either the second or third time they've done it at Fenway. But this is that was the first time that I've been to that show. Yeah.
Now, do you feel like, you know, at, you know, major like sports complex like that, do you feel like it works as for a sports car show to have it like in, like, you know, if they was just like, you know, maybe have it like at more like stadiums like this, you know, do you feel like it will work like that, or it's just like kind of a gimmick or you know, a flash in the panties or something?
Yeah, I mean, I think what it comes down to is like the easeability to get to the stadium. Like Fenway is in like the middle of Boston, so it's like pretty easy to get to by like public transportation. Like if they were to do one at like Yankee Stadium, for example, I think that would be really cool and people would go to it. But like if you've ever been to Yankee Stadium, it's kind of hard to get to like on the train. Like it's in the Bronx, which if you have to take like a couple trains to get there, so it can be a little bit tougher. Like if they were to do one at like Madison Square Garden, I think that one would be pretty cool. I mean, I do think that has something to do with the easeability of getting to the stadium, and I mean parking too. Like I think actually, you know what, there was not a Fenway show. There was another show that was a couple. Actually, no, it's not run by the same people. They did one at Gillette Stadium where the Patriots play.
Patriots play.
Yeah, where the Patriots play, like, and like one of the suites areas. So they've done a couple of these like kind of shows where they're at like stadiums, and I think it's adding an experience to a card show, I think, is really cool. And I think that is how, I don't know, I think that's how a lot of card shows can do it going forward if they're trying to innovate. Because like, you know, like the National, the Dallas Card Show, those ones are so big now that they can pretty much just roll the carpet out and have a show and everybody's going to go to it. But like if you're trying to start new shows, you probably have to, I mean, you can call it a gimmick if you want. I don't necessarily think I think gimmick maybe has a little bit of a negative connotation to it, but I think it's I think it's in addition to the show, the experience, I think is really cool.
It's a nice venue, is what it is.
Right. That's,
you know,
that's
just call a spade a spade. Like a lot of stadiums now have a lot of space, like behind the seats, like to mingle and, you know, watch the game on jumbotrons. Man, I think it would be dope to have one like at Mercedes Stadium in Atlanta.
Yeah,
man, that would be nice.
Be cool.
Amani, did we lose you?
Yeah, Monty got the pause on right now.
Hey,
that's
what
I'm saying too.
So what kind of, did you see a bunch of baseball? I mean, especially being at a baseball field, was it a baseball heavy show? What did you see?
Well, I mean, to be completely honest, I wasn't necessarily looking to buy, so I wasn't as keen to what was kind of in everybody's showcases. From what I saw, it was kind of a good mixture of a lot of stuff. It was a good mixture of like basketball and baseball. Yeah, it was from what I saw, at least, it was like a good mix of everything for the most part.
That's cool. That's cool. And you said you didn't pick anything up though, right?
No, yeah, I was actually just looking to get stuff graded and kind of just go to the show. I actually saw one of my old buddies that I used to work with. So that was another cool experience that also helped with it making it kind of fun. but yeah, no, I didn't pick anything up. Like I said, I brought stuff to get graded, and that was kind of my goal for the show. Was I had stuff just sitting in like my drawer, basically, that I
now
knew
was
that I wanted to
PSA
get graded.
there, or were you doing like a third party grader?
No, yeah, I went through Card Vault, which is like the that's the people that put on the show. Like they have like a really nice showcase store at Gillette Stadium. Like Gillette Stadium, they built a bunch of like shops and dining stuff like around the stadium, and they have a store there. And they're like Chris, I forget what his last name is, but he's like the main guy that like does Card Vault. And they're the ones that like put the show on, basically. I think with like they partnered with like PSA and eBay, probably to do some of the costs there. But yeah, I ended up going with them just because I was looking to get it graded now and not wait till the national. Just because at least in my opinion, some of the Neymar stuff I'm hoping to get back before the national, because he was like hurt. He like tore his ACL, I think. Like I'm pretty sure in like his first game that he played over in the Saudi league, and he's going to be coming back soon from that because it was over the summer. Ooh, excuse me. And then we also have Euros for soccer coming up this summer, which is going to be big for probably Ronaldo's last Euro. Mbappe. He's probably switching teams. I mean, it's going to be a lot of. I think there's going to be a lot of excitement around this year. And that's why I want to get a lot of my soccer stuff graded. So that was kind of some of the reasons why I didn't really pick anything up. Because it's just a lot of the stuff. I'm into a lot of the like weird stuff, and not many dealers sell weird stuff that I'm into. Like, and weird in the sense that like a Christian Pulisic tops now Champions League card. Like that's kind of the stuff that I'm into. So it's like not no one really had that type of stuff, I guess, if is one way to put it.
But soccer for sure, though, right? You always heavy soccer collector.
Oh yeah. Like after the 2019 national, I saw like a bunch of people and I learned a lot of stuff about soccer, and then I kind of just dove into the sport itself. And I not to brag, but I was buying a lot of Mbappe stuff when it was pretty cheap. Like I bought 2 silver Mbappe PSA 10s for $100 a piece, and a couple years later they were like, I sold one of them for $2,500, and then I sold I think another one for $3,000, which those to this day until probably the day that I die, those will probably be the best flips that I ever had. Because those were just crazy,
nice
flips. Crazy cards.
Just the best so far.
I own those. Yeah, I couldn't even. And then I was even buying some not random. I was buying some of the non-silver refractor stuff for like $5, and I got them all graded, and they came back. A lot of them came back 10s, and I was even selling those for like $800-900 at the time when they were kind of going crazy. Which, you could probably buy those for like $200 now. So I haven't picked any more up necessarily, but I it's still. Mbappe is he's like the golden child of soccer right now, other than Haaland, but. Holland stuff has always been crazy because like even he didn't really have much stuff before he like blew up basically, and then once he blew up, that's when he started coming out with like all the crazy tops and Panini stuff for like not World Cup because he didn't play in the World Cup, but like a lot of the crazy like Champions League stuff.
Yeah. Some of those soccer cards are amazingly like valued, man. A lot of people sleeping on the soccer cards.
Yeah, still, I think too. I think it's still like I think it's just such a. There's so many nuances to the sport that I think people like don't want to like dive in. It's like very similar to baseball in the sense that like prospecting is very like, there's a lot that goes into prospecting, especially with soccer. It's a lot like that too, which I've been getting into a lot of like MLS players too. So like that's been cool. That's something that I've really enjoyed been doing. But my New England Revolution, they were good for a couple of years, and then our goalie left to go to the Premier League, and now they kind of stink. So that's unfortunate. But either way, it's okay. It's okay. We've got some other sports here in New England.
Now is Haaland ever like is he switching teams, or will he just stay? What would be the right move for Haaland to do?
I don't know. It really is. He can do whatever he wants now, I think, because like he's won the Premier League titles. He's won I think they won the Champions League last year, and they're going to be they're going to be in the Champions League for the next couple of years. So like they didn't win this past year. Maybe it was last year. I'm not 100% sure on that one. But for Haaland, I mean, he really could do anything at this point. Like I don't even think it really. I think we've seen what has happened with Ronaldo going to the Saudi League, and people just kind of don't really care about him anymore. So I don't think that he's going to take the bag and go to the Saudi League. Yeah. I think I don't know, maybe goes back to Dortmund. Like, I think that would be pretty sick. Like, if he went back to Dortmund and, like, won some championships there, like, that would be cool. But, I mean, it really comes down to what he wants to do, because he's in a league of his own. Like, he's really, like, it's Mbappe and Haaland, and then other than that, it's really just who's coming in third there. Like, it's not even really close, to my opinion.
Because, let me understand this, because, I'm not too fond of, I'm not too knowledgeable of soccer, especially over in Premier League or whatever's in Europe. But Mbappe is moving from Paris, right?
Yeah, that's what this is the one thing that's confusing about soccer is like there are it's very similar to the NBA, where it's like the off season of soccer is almost just as interesting as like the in season, where it's like, Mbappe's been rumored to go to Real Madrid for like 5 years at this point, and it's like I think he is going to go. I'm pretty sure this year. I think he has said that he's going to be leaving PSG to go to Real Madrid. I'm not 100% sure, but I would imagine for him that's like his next step, because he grew up idolizing Ronaldo when Ronaldo was playing for Real Madrid. So like that's kind of, for him at least, I think that's probably his next step, I would say.
Okay. Yeah, that's I see reports and everything on, I guess the move that he's, trying to make. But, I try to read it and I try to study it and stuff. And it's just like, it just literally just flies over my head. So I think I'm just waiting on the news for him just to go and everything.
And I've seen hundreds of breaking news when Mbappe is leaving PSG. Every other week, there's a new report that he's leaving. It's like, yeah, I know he's leaving. They just said that 10 times already. Like, even if he goes to Real Madrid, it's like, yeah, we know he's been saying that he wants to go to Real Madrid for 5 years. Like, this isn't news. This isn't breaking news. It's like, again, it can get very convoluted, like for some of those big stars, because it's like, it's like LeBron kind of. It's like every report everything that LeBron says, he said that he's not going to go to the team that Bronny plays for, which I don't think that's true. Which he's not going to, he's not involved in the coaching search, except for like the number one coaching prospect for the Lakers is the co-host of his podcast,
JJ Redick.
Sure thing, dude. I sure believe you.
Yeah, great job. And one more thing is, now we have MLS over here and over here. Is the cards becoming more valuable, or is it already valuable to just pick up MLS people? And also, is what would be the move for like World Cup coming to the United States? Because I feel that it's like soccer's gonna explode, because it's in the US, and I think, we just basically just copy whatever comes here, and we're just like completely okay with that. So, and like I said, so the move, like I said, is it good? Is it a good move? Because MLS is growing in the United States to pick up MLS cards, or just kind of keep the Premier League cards and SNES. And what's the strategy for like World Cup?
I would say USA players for the World Cup. Like, that's because it's, it's in the US. We're guaranteed that spot. I think this is our golden generation for USA. Like, we had a couple years ago when like Taylor Twelveman and Dempsey were playing on the team. Like, that was like a pretty good team. But this team is like, they're going to be in their primes for this World Cup, and it's going to be in the United States. Like, I'd say, I don't know if they're going to win necessarily, but if they don't make it to like the Final Four, like that would probably be a pretty big failure for the USA players. So I would say USA players, for if you're trying to prepare for this year's World Cup, is like Pulisic, McKinney, Serginho Dest is another great player. You could go with Gio Reyna, who that was another card that I actually got graded at the National. That I'm actually very, very happy that I got that card back as a PSA 10. Was his Tops Now is not, again, I just love Tops Now, but his Tops Now like debut card basically for Dortmund when he still was at Dortmund when he was playing at Dortmund. I got one of his like Tops Now debut cards that had like nobody really knew about him, so like he only had like a couple hundred printed, and I got one of the I graded it a PSA 10. So that was was super awesome. Reina is another good one. I mean, you really just look at like any of the last like teams that the USA have had, like from that play in some of these international tournaments. I would say that's probably what I would go with for US for the World Cup, at least to prepare. And then for the MLS, I mean, I like the MLS just in the sense that like it's a new enough league that it's still. Or no, sorry, other way. It's to the point now where it's becoming more of a mature league where players, you have Messi obviously coming here and playing for Miami, which is insane. I still can't even believe that happened. Like that's so awesome.
It's crazy.
But you have players, like Pulisic, for example. Like he for him to play professional soccer, he had to leave Hershey, Pennsylvania, where he's from, and go over to Germany and play for Dortmund before he could really become a professional player. Like there was just no avenue for players to make a living playing soccer here for like quite some time. Like the MLS, it's only 27-ish years old. Like I know they had their 25th anniversary in the past couple of years. I forget exactly when, but like we're at a point now where it's like, Weston McKennie, he played for Dallas, or he was in the Dallas system before he went over to Germany as well. But like you're seeing more players play in the MLS and then go overseas, because that's just sort of how the sport works in a way. But now I think with the MLS, it's becoming more of a mature league. And it's like, Brennan Aronson is another good example of that. He's a USA player who played for Philadelphia and has like a Philadelphia MLS rookie, like with the rookie patch. So like I think that's what we're seeing. And with the MLS, I just think, like I said, it's becoming more of a mature league, and players there is a way for, hypothetically a 13-year-old right now, there's a way for him to go and play professional soccer in the United States somewhere, rather than having to go overseas to either play. And, Pulisic is the good example because he got to go play in the Bundesliga, which is like the top 5 league in the world. Some players are going to like Slovenia or like some random country to play. Like, so like, I think that's what, at least from my opinion, that's what I see with the MLS now. And that's why I've liked it so much. And that's why I think, that's where I'm seeing it. And it's still at a point where MLS, there isn't like a ton of products the way that there is with like the MLB or like or football or basketball. You're still kind of seeing a smaller amount of products versus some of those other sports, I think.
Okay, so basically, MLS is basically, are we getting respected more overseas now than probably years ago?
No.
Or it's still the same? Okay, all right.
It's still the same, but like honestly, like more players are starting in the MLS and then going overseas. But nobody really is nobody overseas. No one in the Premier League or the Bundesliga or the Spanish League or the French League is like, oh my God, MLS players coming. I'm so excited. But it's like, we have, for example, I think Kevin De Bruyne, who played for Man City, is rumored to be coming to the MLS. Like that's a pretty big move, even though he's kind of past his prime a little bit. But that is not happening in reverse overseas for the most part, I don't think.
Okay.
Like what would you say? Like how many other leagues are ahead of MLS? Like in the rankings, is the best players in their leagues? Like how far down the totem pole?
I mean, I'll say that I'm biased probably, but I'd say it's probably like a top 10 league. It's maybe like in that 10 to 15 range, I think. Like that's a fair estimate. Like if you look at, I think it was Bleacher Report put out like a graphic with the top 20 most valuable teams in all of world soccer, and they put out a report of the top 20 most valuable teams in all of soccer, which is just basically like how much is payroll and how much is they're making essentially. And there was like 4 or 5 MLS teams on that list. So it's like, it's a lot of the big market teams. It's a lot of like, the Galaxy and Atlanta, and like a lot of the top teams are in that. So it's not necessarily, right. Exactly. It's not, Cincinnati, for example, like didn't make that list, but like I said, I'm a little bit biased here, but I'd say it's in that 10 to 15 range. But you could argue outside of the top 5, you could really argue any league is kind of in that conversation, I think.
Gotcha.
Okay. Yeah, that was a great question right there. So, like I said, so what? Basically, like I said, preparing for World Cup and everything. Because here's the thing that, especially how you explaining it. Now, look, I'm F1, through and through, and I have definitely said that it's hard for America to get to F1 because one, there's no pipeline from here. Nobody over in Europe is going in those race circuits over there going, yeah, we're gonna pull somebody from India, somebody from NASCAR to jump in F1. There's just it's nothing like that. So if you want to be in F1, you like how Logan Sargent did. He's from Fort Lauderdale. He went straight over to Europe and just started racing, racing like over there and everything, because there's a guy who's in Indy right now who's I think Miles right now. He is an excellent racer. The problem is that he's like 24, 25 years old, and he can't get that super license because he's been in Indy for so long, and basically it's just no respect. It's just too late for him. So the way you describe that the pipeline of how they're basically pulling people, like some people come over from the MLS to go over over to Europe. I kind of feel like that's what reminded me of F1, but they just don't respect Americans at all. So but I get what what you're saying with that. So
yeah, I would definitely say the U.S. men's team is in the top 10, in terms of terms of when the World Cup comes around, they will definitely, I think that they'll definitely be a top 10 team, ranking FIFA wise. Again, maybe there's obvious bias here, but at the same time, I just look at this generation of players that are on this team are once they got, and Bullholzer is back, once they kind of got something figured out with him. I don't know what it was. There was that weird stuff that happened after the World Cup where he got fired, and there was a report that he was arguing because Gio Reyna's dad was the captain when Bullholzer and him played, and there was rumors about there was fights and stuff on the team, and it's who again, it's very much that happens overseas. We don't really see that as much in the U.S. in terms of, for soccer at least, maybe on some other sports potentially, in the NBA or in the NFL or MLB, but I don't really think I don't think we've seen a team this, or at least once the World Cup comes around, because we still got 2 more years. But I think right now, by that time, they'll be definitely a top 10 team. I think you could argue again in that range of where you could argue where they're at. Not a top 5 maybe, but in the range, I think the top 5 to 10.
So we have, if we're going to win it, if we're going to win a cup, this is going to be the year to do it.
Yes. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think
that's what I like to
hear. I think so. It is great. It's crazy that it's going to happen. It's crazy that it'll happen in the United States if they in New Jersey, which is the funniest thing. You have people like Ronaldo who are living in super cities in Saudi Arabia, and they're going to be playing at MetLife Stadium. It's so it's just such a funny it's such a funny switch in reality.
I'm down for that. So so speaking of new positions and everything, we always have a WNBA update because we know that people hate us talking about the WNBA because for some reason or another they just don't like females. So we just, we always give them an update, and we see it in the DMs and comments. Well, y'all gotta talk about the WNBA because we can, and you hate your mama. That's why. So listen, my whole thing with Indiana for me, Indiana Fever is still young. Okay. And they still got a lot to prove and everything. But let me tell you something right now. And I've been watching the WNBA. I've been watching all types of games and this. When I tell you that they are guarding Caitlin Clark like 2016 Steph Curry, they are guarding and they are bullying. They are not even bullying. They are taking this to a whole nother level. I ain't gonna say the hate. But oh my gosh, when the lockdown,
you can cut the tension with a knife. Yes, you can feel it, bro.
Especially when she played in New York, and who was it? Sabrina, I think Sabrina asked. Yeah, I think was she the one that set the screen? Set the screen on her, or what?
No, it was
It was Brianna. It was Brianna Stewart. Set that screen.
Oh yeah.
Bro, just knocked her out like a.
I mean, that's also honestly, that's also on her teammates for not being like, "Hey, there's a screen." Like, the screen was set for like 5 seconds, and no one said anything to her. That was really. I mean, these defenders are like slapping the floor. They're like meeting her in half court. It's like, okay, relax a little bit. Like, okay,
like
sure.
Old school Bobby Hurley.
First couple games, you know, they're gonna come out. Well, also, you know, the other thing is like the Liberty and Connecticut are like those are like the two best Eastern Conference teams in the league and two best defensive teams in the league, which I thought the funny thing about that other night, the coverage of Sabrina, I mean, of Caitlin Clark was like, people were kind of like ragging on her, but then like you look at her stat line, she had 20 points and like she had a good game. She's probably one of the best players on her team during that game. It was just, like you said, it's not really, they don't hate her. They hate maybe a family member or something like that.
Yeah. And then, like I said, it's not about the 21 points. It's the 11 turnovers or 10 turnovers. That's 10, the one everybody's like, you know, highlighting everything. But last night, when she's
hitting it from the logo, though, right?
Yeah, finally.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? She's finally coming into a place. Like I said, it's going to take a while for her and that team to get settled in. Now, like I said, we talk about Chicago, but Chicago's a whole different beast because they got David Robinson and Tim Duncan on that team. You know, and like I said, Angel Reese she's gonna be a triple double machine. You know what I'm saying? She's not gonna get guarded like Caitlin is. But let me tell you something. If you want to see entertaining basketball, you watch a Fever game and you talk about lockdown. They got Gary Payton. I swear every female turns into Gary Payton when they guard Caitlin.
The glove.
It is crazy. I'm watching this. I'm like, geez. I mean, even the full court. The full court. Who is doing full court presses 4th game in a season?
I mean, dude, they got a point to prove, and plus, man, it's a better league. It's a much better league, much faster league. Everybody's stronger, but yeah, they gonna continue to give her problems, man. She gonna get comfortable though eventually.
I can't wait to Taraji. I can't wait to that game. I can't wait till she play the Phoenix Mercury. That's one.
Yeah, that's gonna be a well-watched game.
Yeah, but for Taraji, that's gonna be crazy. But also, shout out, like I said, if nobody's following the Hobby Daily News, okay, we can spit some news right now. Marvin Harrison still hadn't signed with Fanatics because I guess he rubbed the wrong shoulder somewhere, this and this, or he got too much money for them to just go like, I'm not gonna kiss your ass or anything like that. I mean, I'm trying to figure out what's going on with that because, like I said, if Fanatics, this is what my whole thing is. So, in the news, what's going on is that Marvin Harrison has not signed his NFLPA deal because with Fanatics, they had a deal with Marvin Harrison when he was I think it was a sophomore in college, which supposedly they signed for $1 million for autographs and all this other stuff. And that was going to set him until his 2nd year in the league, which should be around that time. So in his 2nd year in the league is that I guess let's see, around 2026, and I guess finally they're gonna put logos on stuff. But he's claiming that he didn't sign nothing. Fanatics like, you signed the line, this and this, you signed, all this other stuff. I know Daddy's got something. So the documents.
Show the documents.
Show the documents. Now, like I said, he ain't gonna have no jerseys, But see, even thinking about that, I don't remember Marvin Harrison having autos. I
think he had collegiate stuff, didn't he?
I don't know. Maybe it wasn't me.
I've never seen a Marvin Harrison Jr.
I never seen it.
No.
But see, like I said, they're claiming that he has a website now that's why Fanatics up in arms, because apparently he's signing mini football helmets with
the mini helmets,
with the mini helmets and stuff. And Fanatics is like, wait a minute, you're supposed to be signing with us. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, look, I'm gonna shoot it up to Adam real quick. What's your thoughts on that? I mean, do they hate him, or does he just have too much money and be like, listen, you ain't finna throw money in my face like that?
Look, I think that the card companies have been using players that don't know any better for many years to sign contracts like this. So I don't know one way or the other whether he did sign the contract or not, but like, I just think that these players that are the age, they're 20, 21, 22 nowadays, they grew up from social media when they were born. Like they had, so they know how to use social media, where some other players that are maybe older maybe don't. So if they're using social media, all they have to do is, if they're going to sign a deal, like if they're going to sign some sort of deal, all they have to do is go to Twitter, go to Instagram, go to eBay, go to anywhere, and look at what some of these things that they're signing are selling for. And the fact that this industry has got away, in my opinion, and I'm going to use that term, got away with signing players to deals and getting them to sign. Like, look at how many cards these players are signing. It's like actually sort of insane, if you ask me. Like, it's like they're signing thousands and thousands of cards. It's like how? Like, I don't even understand how. Like, if you're a 21-year-old, fourth overall pick, and your agent is like, yeah, we just signed this great deal with Fanatics. We got you $1 million, $2 million, whatever. Here's 100,000 cards you have to sign. 100,000 cards. Like, I'm not signing those. Like, are you crazy? Like, don't sign that deal. Like, it really is so surprising to me that, like, the players, and this is why I think that Fanatics is doing this in a way where they're giving players, I think, more money and more equity. They need to, because we've gone on for too long without giving any equity to players who deserve it, because especially the fact that, like, memorabilia, Panini using game or whatever player worn is that's a whole nother scam that I think will one day come to light, where it's just like, that's a big scam. But like, the fact that the main marketing around a lot of products are the autographs, and that players are not getting more money for the autographs I don't think that's right. I think that they need to give the players more money. And obviously the companies don't want to do that, because they've been kind of swindling these players into signing all these cards for so long. They don't want to add more money to their P&L at the end of the year that said, X player didn't sign, so we had to give them more money or whatever. And it's like, again, a lot of the marketing around a lot of products goes into, the signed stuff, the signatures. So it's like the fact that, and I don't know, like I said, I don't know exactly I don't know if he did sign the contract, if he didn't sign the contract. Because also, if he signed that contract when he was a sophomore, that was probably the beginning of the NIL deals. So everybody was getting NIL deals back then. So it's like the contract probably wasn't, everybody was trying to get NIL deals as quickly as possible. So there's probably a potential that the contract wasn't exactly put together in the way that they expected to or hoped to. So that's another thing that I think maybe, we're looking back in, 10 years from now, we're going to say, can you believe all those players signed those NIL deals and they had to sign 100,000 autographs?
Oh my gosh.
So overall, I just think that players need to get more money for signatures. And I know, from somebody who doesn't really open products that much of them, to be honest, it's probably, people probably don't like hearing that, that should be the case, but in reality, that should just be the case, especially if companies are going to be marketing products with autographs, and that the autograph is the thing that you want to get. Like, the players should be getting more money from those, in my opinion.
Yeah. All this need to be regulated. Like I said, right now, because even with NIL deals right now, I mean, in Florida, Billy Napier getting sued right now. You know what I'm saying? From oh my gosh, from a quarterback that he promised, that a couple of boosters promised him $15 million. You sign over here, because Miami was offering him, I think, $9 million, to go play in Miami. And Florida goes, hold my beer. Here you go. Here's $15 million. If you sign here, that's a whole thing right now. Everybody's getting sued over there. These like two boosters and the coach is getting sued. So listen, NIL is just a mess right now in the college sports world. But listen, we got 100 days to college football, and I'm excited. Not about the NIL stuff, but I'm excited for all that too. So Marvin Harrison, if you're listening right now, man, just sign the contract, get it over with. You know what I'm saying? He already missed his pictures for his cards.
Fanatics pay him more.
Yeah, and that's right. He missed the pictures, so like now I don't even know what they would do. Like, they would have, I guess they would just do Photoshop probably, because that's most likely what happens when players miss like the premiere day or whatever. But it's like,
Yeah.
Which also, again, it's like I don't know, whatever. The pictures of them not on the field are like, what are we? Again, it's like it's really sort of convoluted and really, it's like I don't know. The cards that are better you get later on in the year when they actually have the action shots of them actually playing. Like those are just
I want to see action shots.
Cards. Yeah.
I mean, all these cards right now are going to go to score anyway.
Right.
So,
and like,
you know what I'm saying?
Don Russ.
Yeah, Don Russ.
Premium products.
Yeah, we ain't gonna buy that. You know what I'm saying? Shout out.
Chronicles.
Golly, man. Shout out to all that. Man, shout out to Fanatics for not doing your job. It's only more to come. But let me So a lot of stuff, like I said, and covering golf right now. The PGA Tour was in Louisville, Kentucky, over the weekend, and it was a lot more excitement. I mean, Tiger, Tiger didn't win, so that's not the excitement going on. But oh boy, your boy Scotty, boy, let me tell you something right now. Coming into the event,
got the orange jacket treatment.
Apparently, it started off with somebody got hit by a bus or something. So I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know if you could just I don't know what happened with that, but apparently somebody got hit with a bus. Police was there. He's trying to get to the event. He's trying to go golf, and they go like, "Look here, buddy, you going to jail, okay? look here, buddy." And the video of the police officer was like, "Relax, partner, okay?" You look at this officer going like, "Geez, like what is you doing?" You know what I'm saying? Like you ain't got to do all this. He locked Scotty up. Mug shot comes out. He got to play at 10 o'clock, right? So of course
you're in the jail cell,
baby. Stretching it out.
Just keep getting a little limber, baby.
You're just stretching it out in jail and everything. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Scotty right now. But this is what I really want to know, and I really want to ask.
He still should have wore the jumpsuit out. Just been like, nah, I'm taking the orange.
Or at least just wore orange all weekend. Like that would.
Yes, that would have been the play, right?
Like how Tiger does the thing where he wears the red and black on Fridays.
Yeah.
Tiger's new clothing line is Sunday Red, so Scotty's would have been everyday orange or something. It's like
Friday morning orange.
Yeah, Friday morning orange.
Friday morning orange.
So speaking of all the news and everything, this is what I want to know. Like I said, we had a Fenway car show, and we had a Dallas car show this weekend. So it was pretty huge in car shows and everything. This is what I want to know, Adam. We are approaching June right now, which is going to be, but we can have this next. What is the state of the hobby? Like, is it where it should be at? Because my whole thing, which I'm on record as saying, is that once everything gets corrected in the hobby, all the people that's not supposed to be here ain't going to be here. And then we could just kind of, then it's going to be a better, healthier place. But as somebody that's deep into, the hobby like you are, I want to know from your perspective, where the state at right now? How is the hobby looking right now?
I think a lot of the people who are trying to make fast money, they're not in that just doesn't exist in my opinion anymore. Like you're not buying a card at a card show on Monday or Sunday or Saturday and selling it that week for double, like how you could have probably in 2020, 2021. I think the way you said it, I think is actually how I've explained it too. It's healthier, I think, because I think, I don't think we're going to see the hobby ever get to again where it was in 2020, 2021. But I actually don't know if, and looking back at it in retrospect, I was championing the hobby for, every single day, just trying to be like, this is the best thing ever. This is so awesome. And realistically looking at it being like, oh, wait, why are these cards going up 3x in a day? That shouldn't really happen, I think. So, and I think with Fanatics taking over, we're really shifting into a new era that I think there's going to be a lot of change still to come within the hobby, which if you look back at a lot of years, it's kind of similar to where, the hobby is never one thing for forever. It's always changing and things are different, and you got to learn new ways to buy and sell, and you got to learn, prospecting. You got to learn all of these things, which is actually one of the reasons why I really enjoy the hobby and, making content and just the media aspect of it. It's, there are news stories for the most part most days of the week. You know, like it's sometimes I am kind of fighting for my life trying to find topics for the show. I can't lie about that. Like sometimes I'll just I'll find it'll be like one tweet, it'll be some random person talking about something. I'm like, okay, fine, I found the thing that I'm going to talk about on the episode. That's it. But I think the way that you described it, it's a lot healthier. I think we aren't seeing the ebbs and flows the way we did over in the past like 2 or 3 years, which I think is a good thing. I think you will see some movement between players. I think also the thing is that there's a lot more data. There's just like way more companies that are producing data. You have Card Ladder, you have Sports Card Investor app, you have people like Slab Stocks, you got Gem Rape covering grading stuff. You've got just people who are coming out with information about the hobby, and that's just helping people learn about it. And they're not I don't know how to really put it. They're not like getting tricked, I think is one way to put it. Like, I think that's one thing
it's
that
a more
maybe
educated hobby.
Right. Correct. Exactly. Yeah. It's much more educated, I think. And it's because people like us are creating content and there's shows about it and there's all these things. Like one of the examples I used where we're at in sports cards, I think is when fantasy football and fantasy baseball went from pen and paper to online, there wasn't really that many people writing about fantasy like online in a way, if you think about it that way. And I think now we're sort of in that period where a lot of stuff, almost every transaction is happening online now. Like, sure, there is card shows, which I think is, phenomenal and great. But I think, I'd say it's 50-50, if not more, going on online than there is at card shows nowadays. So I just think the way people sell is changing, whether it's, it used to just be at card shows, and then it used to just be on eBay, and then it used to, just be with ComC, and then it just used to be with Golden, and then, now Golden and eBay are working together on, now there's vaulting. You can buy and sell cards without having to touch the cards, which is, when I got back into sports cards, honestly, I was like, why is this not the way that we do it? Like, because my hobby story starts with playing video games, like playing Madden Ultimate Team and playing MLB The Show, where you buy and sell cards in the game. And I'm like, this is how it should be for real cards. Like, this is, in my opinion, and I think, again, I think that my opinion is maybe different than some other people's. But I just think everything going online and people being able to buy and sell stuff without touching the cards is one of the good things in the hobby. Some people may disagree, but I think it's helping people get into the hobby much easier, because it's like you were saying, like, if you had to go to the Dallas Card Show or you had to go to the Fenway Card Show to buy and sell cards, it's like, I'm even intimidated going to some of those shows. So it's like, I can't even imagine someone who just is completely new and has no knowledge of the hobby trying to go to one of those shows and buy or sell a card. It would be like it would be almost impossible. Like, so I just think the fact that we've gone online so heavily is a good thing. And you still, but also it's good that we haven't eliminated the card show aspect of it as well, because I think the interactions and the because I think when it comes to like buying and selling things in real life, you have a business. And for kids that are kind of growing up in this hobby, you are not even simulating running a business. You are running a business. So it's like kids these days can learn how to run a business with, not much overhead. It still is going to require a little bit, but I think those are kind of my, I don't know, state of the hobby, I suppose. And I know that was kind of a ramble, but there's just I have a lot of thoughts on like kind of the good and the bad aspects of it.
Yeah, because I've always think, like, especially now with keep the kids in the hobby and stuff, because I think a lot of us, I know I've been through it, when you grow up in the 90s and you get your cards in and everything. It's always that point in your life where, about teenager, right before you go to high school, all of your friends and stuff that you grew up with, but the cards kind of go all their separate ways. Then you don't have nobody to, for us, for me, it was, started with Pokemon. Jerry can attest to this, was like, we used to go to Books A Million and we had tournaments and Pokemon, tournaments and everything. And then you just kind of you not really, you grow up and go like, well, it's not really growing up. It's just that everybody else kind of does their own thing, and you can kind of lose your friends and everything. It's different now, I believe, because although your local friends might be gone, you talk to people on Twitter, you talk to people on Instagram and stuff that you meet at car shows that maybe they're loving the hobby as much as you are. So now the kids are super, super more involved than I've ever seen before. That's how and I set up at car shows all the time. And one thing that, especially what Ye Boys taught me, was like, look, you take care of the kids first, because this is who's going to take over the hobby in the next 20, 30 years. So we need to have their interests still at heart and keep going with that. So my whole thing, like I said, and you got to have a healthy environment also. But it's always with the kids and everything. And I feel like it's going to grow even more because, like you said, especially with online selling and stuff, and kids knowing that this is basically, they kind of live online now and they're more comfortable being online, and they know how to navigate it, better. So I feel that.
And I mean, honestly, I'm online just as, I'm online all day, every day. So it's like, I would say I have just as many friends on the internet as I have in real life. I would almost say I probably have more internet friends from the internet than I have. I have a bunch of my hometown friends that I love those guys and I love everybody. But it's like, I know if I'm not going with them to the national. I'm not like, we're not going to the national. So it's like when I go to the national, that's when I get to see my internet friends. Like that's sort of like the way to put it. And it's like, that's kind of another thing that I think is important within, the hobby is like building relationships. And I think like, with social media, I think the negativity always ends up being much louder than positivity. So, and I mean, if I'm going to be honest, I do get discouraged at times when I go on Twitter, which it comes with I don't even know why I get surprised at this point when I see someone just angry about something on Twitter. But like, I get discouraged when I see someone like so angry that they're tweeting in all capital letters. And I'm like, oh my God, like, geez, like that's really unfortunate that you feel that way. Cause it's like, and especially the other kind of bad part about that is like some of those people are just screaming into the void. Like they're saying it to nobody. Like nobody is really seeing what they're saying. So that's another kind of sad-ish part about some of the negativity that goes on. Not even within sports cards, just within social media in general. Right. So it's like, but I think it's important if you're trying to build, and this is maybe a piece of advice for anybody trying to build a brand within sports cards. It's like just be front facing. Like don't be sort of behind a screen. Like show who you are. Like don't be scared. Cause if you like, I love weird stuff. Like that's like I was talking about earlier. Like I love, Topps Now, Christian Pulisic, Champions League. Like that's kind of the cards that I like. So it's like, if I like that, I'm going to talk about that type of stuff because I'm sure there's other people that are going to be interested in it. Even if they don't, it's like, I'm still interested in it. And it's like, so I think showing yourself and showing who you are as a person is very important online because, even though like when online was new, I guess, or whatever, our parents were probably like, hey, don't believe everything you see online. And it's like nowadays it's almost there. It's almost the opposite. I'm trying to tell older people like, hey, don't believe everything you see. Like, but it's like at the same time, it's like what we're doing online right now may not seem like it makes any sense or what we know what we're doing. But in 20 years from now, when I don't mean to be so negative, but when everything is online, everything will be online in 20 years, 30 years, whatever ends up being. These things that we're doing right now are going to be a piece of whatever the world is, I guess. Like the things that we're doing online, like we're kind of at the forefront of what I think media and kind of just in general stuff that's happening online that's going to happen in 10, 20, 30 years from now, I guess.
100%. No, 100%. Like I said, because this right here, this is going to be the new telephone right here. I mean, the new TV.
Yeah, the TV's dead. Like we are the generation of the TV's dying. I mean, other than like major sporting events, I mean, I'm watching YouTube, like TikTok.
But see, also when you talk about major sporting events, I mean, the NFL right now is leading into the streaming market right now. They're doing games on Netflix. They got 2 games that's going to be on Netflix right now. So here we go. You want to watch the NFL? You got to get Amazon Prime for Thursday night.
Yeah, it's kind of.
You got to get Peacock. That's going to be the first Friday game with Eagles and Packers in Brazil. That's on Peacock. You know, you talking about ESPN Plus. Now that happens. And then let's see,
there's YouTube TV.
And YouTube TV
now.
Yeah, it has Red Zone and Ticket now. So to watch, and like I said, how in the NBA right now, I mean, if you want to watch MLS, you got to watch on Apple TV. So now with the NBA now, they're looking at streaming services too, going, man, we might have to get into this.
It's a lot of money in it. It's a lot of money in that, man.
Yeah,
it's a lot of
money.
And
I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised because the NFL is already doing it, like pay-per-view. Like that's just what boxing and what UFC does. I wouldn't be surprised if we move towards that with the NFL, just because it's like, you know, it's once a week. You know, if you were to say, like, hypothetically, you have to pay $15 to watch the game on TV, like you're already kind of paying $15 in a way, if you think about it, to watch the game, if you have some sort of cable thing, or, you know, like you're saying, you just named off all the different streaming services that you need to watch the games. So it's like, I wouldn't
You're already 15 past that. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. I wouldn't be surprised if within our lifetimes, we see the NFL do what boxing did and just become straight up pay-per-view. Like you can pay $5 to $10 for whichever game you want to watch, or, you know, or Red Zone or whatever it ends up being, just because it's like, and I don't want that to happen necessarily, because I think you look at what happened to boxing. Who's the number one boxer? Tyson Fury. Name another boxer other than Tyson Fury or like Jake Paul or whatever. So it's like nobody knows any boxers, and I think it's going to be very similar. Same with racing. I think not racing. UFC is kind of like that. Now, I think UFC has done a good job at kind of mixing the pay-per-view and getting those fighters kind of getting their personalities. But it's like it's not really up to the UFC to make those people have personalities. They just have them. So, you know, I don't know. I would like to not see it go pay-per-view, but I wouldn't be surprised if 10, 15, 20 years from now we see the NFL is just like 100% pay-per-view, basically.
Yeah, I don't love the pay-per-view model, like with the UFC and all. I mean, it's great. Like, you know, you'll have a boys' night, you know, I buy pizza, they buy this, they buy that, right? But it does it starts getting expensive, and you're just like, man, you know, if I could just have it on YouTube TV, or if I could just have it on Amazon Prime. Like,
but didn't they say
or do I was just going to say, or do what WWE does, and just the NFL just becomes what WWE does, and they just have everything on, you know, NFL.com. You can watch any game on NFL.com. You just pay whatever the subscription is, the way that they do with like WrestleMania or SummerSlam or any of the, you know, WWE pay-per-views. Just have them all within the WWE platform. Just do the same thing, maybe, I guess, or you know, do it and then have some sort of subscription. You get a discount on the game. I don't know exactly how they would do it. And I actually, like I said, I maybe need to stop talking because I need to stop giving them ideas of how they can ruin the sport. If I'm going to be honest, because, you know, I love those games. I think the NFL is I don't know. NFL is an interesting sport. It's very rigged for money. If I'm going to be honest, like it's just the most rigged for money sport. Like, and not even the wins and losses. It's more just like the spreads of the games. Like you just watch any game and it's like the spread will be 3 or whatever, and the team's down 10 and they're kicking a field goal. It's like, well, you need another score, or no, it'll be like they're down 12 and they need 2 scores, they need 2 touchdowns, and then they'll kick a field goal and it'll change. It's like, again, I don't know. That's me getting into a little bit of conspiracy mode potentially.
Conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
We're not saying it's scripted, but it looks a little shady.
Right, exactly. Which, I mean, look, the Patriots, like I said, they won 6 Super Bowls in my lifetime, so I'm not sitting here complaining about them potentially scripting what's going on. You know, it is what it is. I'm not here to judge. You know, if they want to do whatever they're going to do, go for it. You know, now it's just we'll have to watch the Patriots probably never win, never go to the playoffs again in my lifetime. Which,
well, I mean, wasn't it easier to catch the ball? It was a little deflated. You could like catch it a little easier.
Oh,
wow. Hold it a little better.
Everybody does that, and Tom Brady said that he did it actually. So, you know, joke's on you, Jerry. At the roast, Tom Brady was like, "Yeah, you could have given me $20 million, and I would have said that I just did it." It's like, yeah, we know.
Even going back to the pay-per-view model, but I know you can you account for this? Is that even back in the day for like boxing, they said that pay-per-view will ruin boxing.
No, it was pay-per-view for boxing.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was expensive too.
It was very expensive. I definitely remember them.
Yeah,
Holy Floors.
$89. That was a lot, man, to get pay-per-view. Yeah, and then it might, it might last like one round. Mike Tyson fighting.
Yeah,
It's out 20 seconds. But yeah,
it's not like an NFL game where the time period. That's all the play is going to happen. Yeah,
right.
Can you imagine? Pay-per-view with Super Bowl? That'd be crazy.
And then for some reason it ends up only being half a quarter.
Yeah.
I think the only reason why it might not go pay-per-view is because of commercials, potentially. But at the same time, it's like all you have to do is you put all the stuff into a spreadsheet and you just say, okay, well, we'll eliminate commercials, but then we got to make people pay. So it's all just numbers on a spreadsheet, basically. It's the same. That's why I get so frustrated with some teams in general. Is like they're billionaire owners that their team isn't. Maybe Mark Cuban, who sold much of the Dallas Mavericks, but like even he was probably one of the only owners that was really super into it. But even him, he's a business guy, so it is what it is there. But like for Robert Kraft, for example, the Patriots owner, he has like 10 other businesses that make the same amount of money. It's just a number on a spreadsheet at the end of the year for him. So like that's why I get frustrated. It's more the Red Sox. The Red Sox actually that is the case, and they've just been. I'm not even gonna get started.
Oh my gosh.
Don't go down that rabbit hole, Adam.
I mean, like I said, down here with the Arthur Blank and everything, when he does this stuff, it's like, I feel like he gets more to the United, which I mean, listen, United, we understand what United is doing and everything, but sometimes it's like, you gotta get your priority straight with the Falcons, you know what I'm saying, first before you try to step over here. Sometimes it's like, sometimes complete forgetting, like, yo, you got a whole football team over here. Can you hello?
What's that gap though? I'm interested in which is more like marketable, like the Falcons or Five Stripes.
Falcons.
Like by how much?
By a large margin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a legacy brand.
Large margin. I mean, United is winning, and they fill up seats and everything, but it's they have
one. I don't know if they're winning.
Well, they're still good. What I understand, you know what I'm saying, and they have one.
Yeah, they're not in last place yet. They're not in last place like Revolution.
Yeah, and they're still, like I said, they're still packing the seats and everything. But I don't even think they can't hold it. They still can't hold a candle to the Hawks. So you know what I'm saying. So I mean, it's still up and coming, but it's still a lot of I mean, you still got the Braves that's there. I mean, United, it's still the fourth team. If
they have a championship though. What
is this discussion going to? I just want to know.
I'm just saying they've made a mark early. I'm just curious. Like, I mean, what is Arthur Blank gonna do though? Like, I need to put more money
here. He needs to get
the Falcons don't
Falcon. No, get out of here. What are we having a discussion? It's crazy. We don't want to talk about the Redskins. Okay, what y'all doing over there?
We're gonna be straight.
My question's coming for us. Crazy. I can't believe I'm catching strays over here. It's crazy. Lee, you know what I'm saying? Hey, shout out to the Commanders. Anyway, goodness gracious. So we have, like I said, before we get out of here, Adam, is where can they follow you at? Like I said, the Hobby News Daily, I'm definitely shout that out there. But go ahead, the floor is yours. Where can they follow you at?
Sure. Yeah, so it's here at Heroes for Sale on Twitter, Instagram. I really don't post as much on Instagram anymore. I've been thinking about getting back into it. I just haven't, I don't know. I worked. To be honest, I was trying to do Instagram like pretty hard for like couple of years, and it didn't exactly end up working out how I was hoping. TikTok kind of similarly, actually, too. Like it was going well. It just wasn't. The time that I was putting in wasn't kind of worth from a business aspect of like what I was trying to do. So now I'm working with, like you said, Hobby News Daily. I'm like the creative director. I think that's my title at Hobby News Daily, which includes The podcast, it includes basically all the updates that are going on the website. Not the actual blogs that are going up. We have like a ton of, I think we have like 19 or 20, like some of the best writers, I think, in the hobby, in my opinion.
Very good.
But the build of the website, like how the website actually looks, that's me, Danny and I worked on that we're on like probably version 20 of the website now, but we've been working on building that, all that kind of stuff.
Webmaster.
But Twitter, actually, for Heroes for Sale on Twitter, I am fairly active on there just because that's where I find a lot of the topics for the show, for the show that I do. And then also I just am addicted, I think, to it, so I can't get off of it, which I hate. But I do use TikTok, but I don't really post as much anymore.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, overall, those are kind of the places where you can find me.
And YouTube?
I have been on YouTube. Again, it's similar kind of. Honestly, at one point I was trying to do everything, and it didn't exactly work out the way that I was hoping to. But at the same time, like I said, I am working on this podcast with Danny. We actually just, I think, hit like a year in April. I think April 1st was like the launch of Hobby News Daily. So we're like a year in. I think we did like Monday through Friday, like basically for 52 weeks for the most part. Like, and then we do a I guess YouTube for Hobby News Daily, we do a Saturday show, which is I take all the Monday through Friday episodes and I make them into one episode, and I post that on Saturdays. And I think Sundays, Danny has been doing interviews on the Hobby News Daily YouTube channel. And then, I mean, one other thing I do, I work with the everybody over at Hobby Hotline. It's like a Saturday show that's on Bench Clear Media, their YouTube channel. And sometimes I'm like the host engineer. I think it's like once or twice a month usually. And then I try and fill in wherever I can, like if I'm not the host. But yeah, those are, I mean, for the most part, that's kind of everywhere where you can find me, I think.
Now, let me ask you this before we get up out of here. Where is, I guess, let me see how I can put this. Where do you see Hobby News Daily going?
Well, I mean, Danny probably would be able to speak to this a little bit better because he's the guy that runs everything on behind the scenes. But I mean, we're hoping to be the number one, hobby news related source in the industry. I think that's probably where we're trying to go. I mean, I'm not going to give any free advertisements to any other companies that are kind of doing stuff that are similar to us. But I mean, we're trying to take them down, I guess.
That is good.
I would say you're taking them down.
You're doing a great job. Yes, sir. You're doing a great job. Yeah, they can kick rocks. Yes, sir.
They've got two likes and got so many millions of dollars, and then y'all are just putting out the great work.
That's right.
I think really what we're trying to do is we're just trying to create good content. I think that's first and foremost the most important thing about Hobby News Daily is like writing articles that people that we are writing them that we're interested in. Same with the podcast. I mean, I try and cover as much hobby news as I can. I mean, sometimes I'll dive into random topics. Like, I do actually talk about WNBA and soccer a lot on the podcast, like probably more than I should, because sometimes those episodes don't do as well because people are just, I don't know, not as interested sometimes. But, I think overall our mission or goal really with Hobby News Daily is just help people learn about the hobby the same way that at one point we were all new to this industry and we were all trying to learn as much as we could. So, creating great articles and creating great podcasts and YouTube and interviews and all that kind of stuff. It's that's the main goal that, Danny and I talk about like on a weekly basis, just basically creating the best content that we can to help people learn about the hobby and the industry and all that kind of stuff.
Let's go. So that's what's up. Like I said, it was great. It was great having you on. Like I said, to have a living legend on is just awesome. Right.
Totally enjoyed it now. For real. Straight up.
Like I said, for real. So everybody that's listening right now, go follow Hobby News Daily. Okay. And go follow Heroes for Sale also. Listen, let me tell you something. If this is always this, because like I said, when he gets big and he gets spiked up, you know what I'm saying? Don't be like, you heard it here first. All right. But like I said, it was good though. So everybody, like I said, follow, share to all your enemies,
subscribe,
and all your mamas and ex-girlfriends and stuff.
Tell grandma.
All your grandmas and stuff. Yes, sir. You know what I'm saying? Follow, like I said, and TikTok is follow us on, follow the Quiet Car Podcast on TikTok and everything, YouTube. Like I said, Jerry and I are pumping out the content and everything.
Almost daily. Almost
Yabo,
daily.
like I said, we're gonna try to get Yabo a show on there. You know what I'm saying? We can never get him Sable, you know what I'm saying? So anyway,
Hey, on the move.
Like I said before, say hi to your grandmas. We're gonna talk to y'all later. Peace.
Peace.